Hi, this is Anis from Never Stop Trucking. In a few of my past videos, I spoke about owner-operators not having enough funds or not being financially ready to become an owner-operator, buy their own truck, or even start their own MC authority. But in this video, I wanted to talk about something totally opposite. And this is owner-operators having too much money, and not just having that too much money to start, but also not using that money wisely and sparingly. There are a lot of agencies out there, government agencies, private ones. People are offering you stuff. And if you have a lot of money saved and you're buying everything cash and you want to do everything correctly from the very beginning, you want to do it as a businessman, then you might want to employ some methods that most people would not. For example, hire professional advisors, pay for a business plan, get insurance that you don't really need, and pay stuff left and right without getting an advice or talking to anyone, thinking that you're doing everything right and you want to be correct from the very beginning. I had a few guys that I spoke to, and I'm still in contact with them, and they're doing great as far as their financial situation goes, and that's really great. Most people don't do that. But when you're starting as an owner operator or driver or starting your own company in trucking, you need to save money, and you need to be very careful who to pay that money to and how much to pay, because there are a lot of people out there to get you. There are agencies, even government. There are private companies that will offer you stuff. A lot of that stuff is not necessary, and a lot of that stuff you can pay for much cheaper someplace else if you would just do more research or talk to someone. Now, this here is not my pitch to offer you my private consultation, but if you had talked to someone, it doesn't have to be a paid conversation or consultation, a friend to friend. If you were just to ask them or tell them, or if you go somewhere and someone asks you to pay money, before you pay that money to them, just stop. Don't do it right there on the spot. Do some research, talk to someone, and see if that's actually legit, and if you really have to pay them that much money. If yes, that's different. But in a lot of cases, it turned out that you were actually not supposed to buy those things. Let me give you a scenario. You go to DMV and you tell them, hey, I just bought a truck and I want to register it. And they say, yeah, sure, fine, give us the money. And you give them money, and then you find out that you registered the truck only in that state. You didn't register it in other states. In other words, you didn't go to IRP and get your cab card and paid around $2,000 for all state for 1 year, plus the highway tax and all that. No, you just paid them that money for that particular state, and that's going to be useless for you because you're going to be traveling over the road everywhere, right? Unless you're doing something specific in your state, you're doing intrastate, that's different. But most people who go into trucking, they are trying to do over the road, and they need that IRP, and you gotta be registered in every state. Now you just paid your state that fee for nothing. Then you're gonna go to IRP when you realize that this was a mistake, and then they're gonna charge you again for all states, including that state. Now those charges are different, but let's, like here in Michigan, it's around $500 a month, a year to register your truck just intrastate. In Texas, it's somewhere around 500 to 600, but in Wisconsin, it's 2,000, and depends on the state. And then also see how much insurance do you need, how much coverage do you need. If you're getting your bobtail insurance or physical, are you getting all that you need, or are they just gonna give you some other stuff that The government is not asking you to have, the DOT is not, the company we're going to be leased onto, they're not asking you to have that coverage, and the brokers are not asking you for that coverage. Now, why would you want to pay all that coverage if you don't need it, right? Get a normal coverage that everyone else is having. Now, you might say, well, how do I know what's a normal coverage? Well, that's where you do research. You talk to people. You go online, you ask people, you call people. Even if you have to pay someone for a consultation, let's say you pay someone $500 for consultation. Now that's a bit too high, right? But let's say you pay that. You can find consultations for trucking. There are not just me, there are other YouTubers who have that. You pay them like $100 or $200 for 1 hour. In that 1 hour, that 1 hour can save you thousands of dollars, because it's going to tell you how to do stuff, and it's going to prevent you from making mistakes, right? And then you can usually go back to those people and ask them questions again, or get that consultation one more time. And like I said, don't pay for a consultation if you don't really need it. YouTube channels, Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook, friends, family, books, ask multiple people at those government agencies like DMV, IRP, because the chances are, this one guy, he went to their DMV and they charged them that money. They did return it at the end, but then when the other person came out, they said, well, yeah, this guy made a mistake, you were right. So don't just assume that all these people, including your insurance agent, or the government agency, or someone at a private company, knows the rules and know what they're talking about. A lot of times, a lot of these people are not trained, they don't have experience, they might be new, they might not know that one particular thing, and therefore they might give you false information that can cost you thousands of dollars. Another example, here in Michigan, we have a so-called rolling stock, and this is an exemption for us, for trucking companies. We don't have to pay here a sales tax. Whenever we buy a truck or a trailer, we don't pay sales tax, because in Michigan 6% is the rate for the sales tax. So imagine if you're buying a truck for $100,000, you're going to have to pay $6,000 just in sales tax, right? And that's what you pay for cars if you buy them privately. But if you have a DOT number, or even if a friend of yours has a DOT number, or if you're going to lease onto someone, all you have to do is fill out one form and put their federal EIN number on that form. And then in some cases, they will ask you for a DOT number. Just find someone, just put it, or a random. People will just go online and find it, like they don't check, right? So we don't have to pay that tax. In a lot of states, you have to pay that tax. So some states don't have that. But look at those things before you pay all these fees for IRP, for local registration, for highway tax. Has it already been paid for that truck? For the insurance charges. Also, a lot of people will go to a financial advisor. Now, I'm asking you, why do you need a financial advisor if you're just starting your one-man company, or even being an owner-operator, just buying your first truck? Why do you need a financial advisor? They might save you money in the long run, but if you're gonna get a financial advisor, at least find someone that has trucking experience, because trucking is very, very particular. It's specific. So you gotta know, even if you're getting a bookkeeper, it helps if you're in trucking to have a bookkeeper that knows about trucking, or better yet, that has been maybe some driving or owning their own trucks. So trucking is very specific, and you're gonna keep paying those people all that money, or even a lawyer. You haven't even started, and you're gonna be out thousands of dollars because you want to do everything right. Another thing is, if you're trying to get a loan for your truck or a trailer, and everyone is giving you bad rates, high interest rates, if you're trying to get a regular loan from a bank, then that probably means that you're not ready yet. You haven't gotten there as far as your financial responsibility goes. There is probably a reason why your credit is bad, your credit score is bad, and they're giving you those high interest rates. So work on that, get some training, get your credit score in order, and then try to apply again, and you're gonna get a better rate. Some people will go to those leasing companies. In my opinion, that's like the worst thing after cash. Cash is the first one. If you have cash, buy your equipment with cash. The second one, the second option is not lease to purchase through a company. I made those videos few times. So don't go to a company and purchase a truck from them. That's a no-no. Also, a lease from like a third-party company, because there are a lot of them right now that will do that. They will lease the truck to you, and it might be leased to own, but you gotta put down a big down payment, and these their rates are just huge. Like you're gonna be paying a big monthly payment for that truck, and that's gonna kill you. You're not gonna be profitable. So first thing is, if you can have cash, buy with cash. The second option is get a traditional loan from a bank. Don't go to a credit union. Credit unions are the worst for the commercial equipment, for commercial loans, especially in trucking. They're gonna make you jump through a lot of hoops, bring them a lot of documents, have a lot of requirements, and it's going to be a nightmare the whole time this loan is with that credit union. Find a traditional bank, a local bank, or like a regional bank. Right here in West Michigan, we have Huntington, PNC, Fifth Third, those banks, or there are some national banks that deal with trucking equipment as well, and they only do that. So even if you bank at a credit union, who cares? Just open up an account with a regular bank and go there and talk to them and tell them, I need to open up a checking account or even a savings, and I will need a commercial loan. If you have a good credit score and good credit history, most likely one of them will give you a commercial loan. Also, make sure you find someone that works on the commercial side of the business and that has trucking experience or experience with working with truckers or trucking companies, right? If you go to a bank and tell them I need a commercial loan for a truck or a trailer, and you ask them, hey, are you working with trucking companies? And they say, no, well, we don't. No, just go find someone else. If they tell you, oh yeah, we just financed this guy, we know how it goes. They know everything, and they will lead you in the right way. They're not gonna rob you, okay? Other subscriptions, you don't need, why do you need a TMS, right? Why do you need subscription for QuickBooks? All those fancy subscriptions, you don't need any of that because you're just starting. Just pay whatever you have in order to get that truck. You gotta register it with the IRP. You gotta have your physical or BOP-tier insurance. You gotta pay the highway tax. You gotta get your IFTA, that's free. And if you're trying to lease to another company your truck, then that should be it, right? It shouldn't be much more than that. You don't need other stuff. If you're trying to open up your own company, your own MC, that's different. I made videos about that as well. But in this case, you don't need any of that. You just need to have some money saved aside for when you start driving, so you have that for potential repairs or emergencies. If you have a lot of money, please save it, right? Save it. I feel bad when I hear that these people are spending this money for no reason. I feel so bad. It's like I'm spending my own money. That's what it makes me feel like, right? And I just want to tell them, hey, like, don't do that. And I'm not trying to be smart or tell them that I'm better because I know this, or that I'm just gaslighting him, or something like that. I'm just genuinely telling you there is no need to spend that money. Don't do it that way. Do it this way. Because if I hadn't experienced that on my own skin, I wouldn't be telling you. If I don't know, I will tell you, hey, ask them. Call them and ask them and see what they say. I don't think it should be done this way, but maybe they're right. But if I know 100% this is not right, I will tell you that, and then I will bring you proofs, and I want you to save that money and not spend it, because down the road you're going to be saying, well, I invested all of this is not worth it. Well, yeah, because you spent money left and right, and you didn't check with others before you did that. So some of those people maybe played you, but I'm trying to prevent that from happening. This is Ennis from Never Stop Trucking. Subscribe to the channel and come back for more. Share these videos, like them, share them on social networks in order to spread the message. Thank you, and I'll see you later.